Oh my gosh, I've been looking forward to this conversation for so long. Andrea, you are so near and dear to me. I'm incredibly grateful that we're here together today.
Me too.
So, you know, you have helped me. See, I'm already getting emotional. Like something that I experienced this weekend, I went to an incredible women's like growth gala, however you want to say it, higher self gala. And talking about our people, like really holding on to our people, help us like rise. And you are one of those people for me.
Mm.
And I just want to thank you because, okay, we're just starting this and I can't even okay.
I know. I already feel the tears.
You just have so much experience with from being a nurse to shifting your career into soulful coaching, helping women elevate, from being a shadow coach, you're certified in shadow coach work, helping women leaders on a mission who really want to do things differently, who have a calling, who have a message to share, to step into their greatness. And you've helped me in learning, like, we want to honor the shadow as much as honoring the light.
Absolutely.
My podcast, is all about like living in the light, like on your fertility path, right?
Yeah.
And honoring both. And I'm stepping into my rise. Like, you've helped me, you're helping me. As we grow, as we face challenges, we encounter, it's not always a smooth sailing, like trajectory upward, right? Like,
Right.
this is life. And so I just want to open this up to you. And I mean, there's so much we can talk about. I don't even honestly know where all this is going to go, but I'm so grateful you're here. And I know you have so much wisdom to share with my community in the fertility space.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I know our journey together has been so special, and you've helped me just as much as I've helped you, So, and I love that reciprocity when, when you're people, to your point too, like being around people that help you rise. Because last year, and you will know, my own coach who said, "All right, Andrea, I'm calling you higher," and I could feel that in my heart and just be like, okay. I could feel this, my soul, right? Like it's time for me to step into my own, honoring my own wisdom, honoring the wisdom that I've gained through my nursing career, through all of my coaching, and yes, the shadow work, even down to copywriting, right? And you can see how it all goes together. Maybe we'll tap into that, but and just learning the energetics and things like that too. So now I can't help, but of course that's what I do is I call people higher. And honestly, Lisa, there wasn't much. You're already higher, right? Like you're ready to say yes. You're literally making the moves to step in even into your higher self and knowing your story. And all of the things that you went through and how you moved through shadow work. And maybe you didn't even know that verbiage.
No. I mean, I've heard of shadow work, but you've helped bring that to surface, to the light,
Right. And how you move through that so intuitively and so soulfully. And because I know your story, I know that how much your mom played a part into the person that you really are, And so I'm sorry. I knew that the dogs were going to start barking. I should have done something about that. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But I look at you and I'm like, you're walking in the frequency already of like being called higher. And so to me, that's integration, right? And facing really the golden shadow. And this can tie into your clients as well, because the shadow plays into so much of, it's like the little, how do I want to say this? Like little tethers that go out and play a part in every part of our lives. Right. And so even, I was thinking about this earlier, was like in the fertility space. And I myself have a chronic illness, as you live with type 1 diabetes, wear an insulin pump and all the things. And we can so be in this story. And my story too, of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die because the doctor told me, hey, Andrew, you're not going to live a long life. hey, Andrea, don't have babies. If you do, you better have them young. And so we create a lot of self-sabotage. And that's one of the biggest, and I know you and I have talked about this so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
about self-sabotage, right? And even with the stories that we create, like, oh my God, I'm not going to get pregnant. Oh my God, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And it takes a lot of practice to shift. And that's why it takes a lot of inner work to do that shift.
Yeah.
And to honestly choose your thoughts.
Wow.
Woo, it takes practice.
And words are powerful, what we're telling ourselves.
Oh, our little ego. I always talk about my inner mean girl. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
I had to become friends with her. You're like, what do you really need? Like, really, what are you angry at? Why are you really beating me up? And talk about shadow work in your parts, because there's different parts of us.
Yeah.
Right. And there may be, one thing that really, as a former yoga instructor, I guess you could say, like, really understanding the body and how we hold stress in our body. Because I remember telling you this story specifically about one of my really good friends who was like, Andrea, I'm so stressed out. She's just talking to me as a holistic nutritionist and nurse yoga. And I was like, well, and she said, I'm going to go to yoga for 2 months and just see what happens, because I'm giving up. I don't, we've been trying to get pregnant naturally, and I'm giving up. And then she called me 2 months later and she was pregnant with twins.
Wow.
So one thing I think about so much that goes with shadow work, Lisa, I swear, is your nervous system and like parts work. It all goes back to that. In healing, like, this is my healer brain, because I've done Reiki, I've taught Reiki for so many years and just done this, and that's what led me to even leave my nursing career.
I want you to share about that. I mean, you just have so many different skill sets that you bring. Numerology is one too. We haven't even talked about, but like the Reiki, the somatic work. Talk about a little bit about your transition. You were a nurse for 16 years. And
Well,
then
and it started with energy work. It started with energy work because I guess I was getting burnout, because I was a nursing supervisor for 7 years. And I had transitioned into, I don't know if you remember the electronic medical record, Epic.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I had gotten certified as an inpatient Epic clinical documentation person, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was so burnt out, and it felt like I knew source, God, creator, whatever you want to say, put me here for something way bigger. And I felt that on my heart so much. And I wanted to truly know myself. I wanted to know, why me? Why me walking through this world with diabetes? Like, after all these years, of having type 1. So I go to a Reiki master person that I found online, went to Asheville, North Carolina, and saw her. And that, in that moment, that changed everything. Like, you cannot unsee what you see with the world of energy and energetics. And I just couldn't unsee, even, walking into the hospital. Here's your pill. Here's your pill. Here's just Band-Aid medicine. That wasn't getting to the root, and like talking about your mental, emotional, spiritual well-being is just as important as you going out and like walking or exercising or anything like that. I mean, I get really
100%,
passionate about this.
100%.
I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
I know you know this, but it's like, it all matters.
Share about your Reiki experience. What was it in that moment? Was it the shift? Can you share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was just like, in that first time, like, we talked a lot, and she had asked me about some numerology, which is interesting, how that showed up.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, that's interesting. I was not into numerology at all at the time, and didn't really care about numbers or anything like that. But when I left, all I remember, because this was many, many years ago, was all of my senses were heightened, And I just knew that I knew that I had stumbled into something that I was supposed to know.
Came into a knowing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how I describe those knowings. It's like, you know that you know that you know that you know, you know,
Yes.
yeah, no,
Oh
right.
my gosh. Yeah, I just love that you have really explored so many different holistic practices. So what after Reiki, what did you kind of explore then after that? You were just
Yeah.
still
So
in nursing, or did you just leave? What happened?
well, it took me about 2 years
Okay.
after the Reiki stuff to leave. And
Mm.
I spent many times or countless hours, I guess you could say, in the prayer field, just like, okay, show me, like, show me. And I know that because I had all these stories. Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to have a job that doesn't have benefits. And how am I going to have a business? I'm just little old me. I'm just this little chick from South Carolina that doesn't know anything. I'm just a
Yeah.
nurse. Right. And so I cried a lot. I made a plan. I put more money in my 401k, to be honest with you. And I left. I knew that the pain of not knowing, like that, the pain of that outweighed the fear. And I knew it was time to jump. I knew it was just time. Like I would walk into the hospital crying, like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And Lisa, that was huge because my whole identity was as a nurse. And I had no idea what would come, the grief that would come afterwards, which is a whole other
Oh
story.
yeah, you and I can totally
Yeah.
relate. Left
Yeah.
OT, it's just like, it's still a
Mhm.
part of you, and it's a whole nother talk.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and what came next? Kind of, I mean, you've dabbled in so many different things, but
Yeah. Well, when I left, I completed that 2-year holistic nutrition certification, which was way more about, like, it was energetics, like the energetics of food, the energetics of our thoughts, the energetics of breath work and movement. So it was all encompassing our health and wellness. And I did my yoga teacher training, which was like a 9-month intense training. And I just really worked on healing myself and worked on healing my mindset of all of these stories and the past traumas that we hold in our body that can prevent us from moving forward in whatever area of our lives that we're working with. That's what I'm saying, like the shadow work, because that is shadow work. It affects every area of your life, no matter.
this is so important to talk about. And I know for many who are listening, we create a lot of stories on our path to motherhood about, am I deserving? Can I navigate through this? Like, comparing, there's a lot of comparison. There's so much story of creating, like, and the narrative around IVF is like, it's going to be hard. And I didn't subscribe to that mindset. There are definitely hard
And
parts.
that's what I look at you, the Netflix of IVF, and think, it, like, the things that and the way that I've seen you and told and read your book and all of the things, I'm like, wow, like that's what I was saying in the beginning of our conversation, is that I can see, even though I didn't know your mother, but knowing the stories, how she set you up for this.
Yeah.
I've never said that to you, like, in a way, but I can see it.
Wow.
And that's what I was trying to say, I think, the other day in our past conversation, is that I have chills. I have soul shivers right now. I know it's another knowing that she honestly, from the time you were born, set you up for this.
Wow.
I mean, you can, if you go back and just look, you'll know that you can see that without a shadow of a doubt.
Thank you for just, you see things and you share them, and it just touches me so much. So, but yeah, the energetics. So I think energetics and fertility, I mean, this is where I feel like I'm stepping into this space and showing a different way, because it's just not the focus through IVF. Science is so important, and you know that. I mean, we both come from medical backgrounds. We appreciate the science, couldn't do this without our doctors, our reproductive
Right.
endocrinologists, our embryologists. But it's also like us stepping into this, being a part of this like life-changing experience. We get to actively be like calling our shot, no pun intended. But it's
Right.
like, I mean, oh gosh, it's a hard path, but if we choose to focus on that, it will be hard. And so the energetics matter because, like you said, the mindset, the nervous system regulation, like taking ownership of like, how are we handling those rough ups and downs, the downs of the hardest, right? Like those low points that many of us experience. I can't say all, but rarely is this just a smooth sailing path. There's setbacks. And what if they're guiding you to like a better destination than you could have planned? And
No.
how are we navigating to hold on to ourselves through this? Right? Can you
And,
speak to that a
I,
little?
I know, and I think that's the crux too, is not losing yourself. And I can resonate. You know, I was a high risk pregnancy with an high risk endocrinologist. And so I know what it feels like to be fearful if a pregnancy was going to, be viable and be okay. And how do you not lose yourself? I think that you have to do a lot of inner work and have a lot of support,
Oh yeah.
and what's coming up right now is a lot of the I want to say emotional or intuitive intelligence. And though we're not going to always be emotionally intelligent people. I mean, let's face it, we're human. We're
Yeah.
human, we're not robots. That's what I always say.
Uh-huh.
And so I think that you have to be conscious. You have to be conscious of your stories. And you have to, again, go back to the practice of choosing your thoughts, and being in the right environment to do that makes it so much easier.
Oh, for sure.
So much easier. As far as support systems,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, this is why I stepped into this kind of work. It just was lacking through what I was going through, and knowing that energetically, I'm going to step into this fully open to
yes,
receive. And honestly, the right supports were coming my way. Like we've talked about the wishing cards I've created, the intention setting cards. And one of my
yes.
good friends, Tiffany, she's just this magical being. I just love her. She's like, had us all over. We had this night where we were setting our intentions under the new moon and calling in our desires. And that's one of the things I was doing through my fertility path, stepping into this, like shifting the focus to, yes, this is all happening for me. And all my wishes were like literally coming true. I mean, it was truly, this is the magic I talk about if we're open to it,
Uh-huh.
you know?
And that's what fascinates me about you, because
Oh.
you really like hone
Mm.
your thoughts, and you really choose, and you're not bypassing, which is important, because it'll still all be there, And
Right.
so, like, gosh, just all the stories, all the things that I've read, I am truly fascinated by you having that ability to do it. And I say intuitively, and your mom set you up for that. And so it's just like this.
A blend of,
Oh,
intuition, spirit, and my guide. Yeah, she's definitely a guide for me. I
yeah.
mean, I have
And you
many.
do it so soulfully. And I love, like, hashtag doing healthcare differently, whatever that looks like, and you're doing it the right way. And I say right because you are tending to the mind, the body, the spirit,
Yeah.
all of it.
And I think the OT background I had did also set myself up for this too. It's like, wow, I was always
Oh,
drawn to
absolutely.
obviously the healthcare field, helping people, and just the mind, body, spirit approach. And that's what OT, and it's all in my book. So yes, you read it.
Oh,
And
you're a healer. Like,
um,
you are.
wow.
That's what you're put here to do.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, you helped me like really stepping into my light. And I think for many too, the women I serve, the kind of women that I work with, I mean, incredible, from doctors to CEOs to coaches for other coaches. Like these women are driven and we've made things happen in our life, stepping into our light in so many different ways through our lives. However, when we approach motherhood, like we dim our light. We sometimes like don't step forward, leaning into this unknown path. And it's one of the most magical journeys any woman can experience, a parent. And so, yes, helping women really embrace this ride, this unpredictable path that I talk about, and owning your power and knowing, yes, we can't make this happen, but we can really be an integral part of connecting not only to ourselves, but this little light ahead of us that is holding on for us too. That's what I'm all about.
Yes. Oh, that gave me chills. That gave me chills.
And we only had one embryo. I mean, we only had one embryo. So it's like, there were a lot of dark moments, and I could have gone down that dark hole of the what ifs but it was like, I stayed connected. Story, you're right. And so it's like, speak to that a little bit. Like, can you speak? Cause I just think this is such a gift you have, and you've spent a lot of time, like really diving deep into this and the dark.
Yeah, it's just like, remember in the beginning when we were creating a trap map and creating like, okay, well, let's just call out what are our traps. And we both, I can say this, we both have this trap of perfectionism, right?
I do. I mean, waiting for it's right. I never thought of myself as a perfectionist. I really haven't, but there's things that I realize, like, okay, why am I hesitant on putting something out? If it's not 100%, I guess, perfect or whatever, but why? Yeah, we get in our own way.
Yeah. Right. Like, it's got to look this certain way, or like, so anyway, we end up forcing things a lot too, that if we're talking about energetics, it pushes things away. Because when we force and we try to control, it's this needy kind of grabby energy that just pushes things away. And so in my mind just went to the energetics part, but I totally forgot the question.
No, it's okay.
Bring me back.
The story, living in the dark, and the story. Yes. I mean, this is all part of it.
Oh,
I
the
think
story.
There's so many women who want to control things. And when people say there's nothing I can control, well, I disagree. Like, there's things we can control with how we're showing up, our energy we're bringing to this process, our mindset, how we're going about this path. But with, story. So story, you spent a lot of time diving into this kind of work. And I think a lot of women, that's one of the traps, is they get stuck in the story.
They get stuck in the story. They may get stuck in like even comparison, like, oh, my journey is supposed to look like her journey. And if it's not looking like her journey, then it's not working. It's not true either. So I think that exploring, because this is where the excavation and the inner work and things like that come, and noticing when you're feeling a feeling in your body, like you notice that your body's like, your shoulders are tight, or maybe your shoulders are to your ears, right? Then asking yourself and stopping, I really believe in a sacred pause. And that has taken me a lot of years to practice, because I'm very squirrely. But if I just take that pause and go, what story am I telling myself right now? Is it just a story? Is this even real? Is this my energy? Or is this somebody else's? So I really try to dissect why, especially if I am like in a story. And then it becomes kind of laughable after you do this work for a while, because you're like, oh, I'm doing it again.
Yeah, I know, it's so relatable. Okay. I love this. This is honestly what I dive deep into with my clients. It's like the foundation of where we start. It's like, what is the narrative you're telling yourself through this process?
Right.
No.
And I feel like, oh, when you said that, I just got like this visual of like, well, you get to write this story. And I know you talk a lot about that, but I can see like, okay, well, taking out your pen and I'm going to create this story as I go.
100%. I love it. And I love how you talked about the sacred pause, because honestly, like, that is such a good description of what I'm creating in the new year with the 2024 Moon Magic and Manifestation Group. That is
I'm so excited.
Pause, a monthly sacred pause to recalibrate, to tune into the energy of the new moon. This is where it's at, girl.
Oh my gosh. That is the perfect way to say it. That is exactly what you're doing. And to cast out your intentions. And that way you're being more mindful and you
Writing
can
out.
follow the energy, right? Because I always see, like, I imagine myself pulling back that arrow and it's like letting go, like, here's my aim. And so I
Yes.
know I'm going to aim there
Yeah.
and do my best. But I'm not going to be so anal that I'm going to not live life to you.
Oh, 100%.
Which I
I'm
think is a
all
big
about
part.
living your life fully through IVF. This is one of my things that it just pains me to see so many stop living.
Yeah.
You just deprive yourself from the joy, from your trying to control everything outside of you versus like looking at what can I do inside of myself to
Yeah.
create more of the
What
sacred.
can I really control and what is like really not in my control? And there's a surrender. And, this is where the story of numbers come in, because you can
Yes.
manifest by numbers, by 1 through 9 daily energy, which I don't want to confuse any listeners, because I know in January,
Yeah. You're my
we're going
first
to be
guest.
talking
I'm
about some
so
numbers.
excited. I cannot wait to have you part of this group, because you are going to be talking all about the energy of 2024. We're meeting on 111. What is the energy of that day? First, just like give a little highlight. I mean,
Okay, hold on.
not to put you on the spot, or anything, but 111. Oh, so this is the day that I release my podcast too. It'll be the 1 year celebration of my podcast.
Okay, now I have chills because I did not know this. Okay, so 2024 is an 11/2 day. Okay. So just hear me out and just hear my words, not try to like figure out the numbers right now. But I will tell you, as a ruling number, 11/2, that's the day you're falling on.
Yes.
Oh my, the hairs are standing up on my arm. So, okay. 11/2 is like this. Well, obviously things are coming together. You've got that 2. So, where I always say where 2 or more
When you say
gather.
2, so 11, 11, 2, 1, 11, 24. Explain that again. 11/2.
So I added up all of the numbers: 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4.
Okay.
Right. And then when you add those all up, you get that 11, and you have to add the 1 plus the 1. That gives you the 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. When you're not seeing it visually, it can get really confusing. And so that day tells me that there is this extra layer of spiritual accountability that you have to your life, right? And that in the 2, that's where the 11 comes, because the 11 is a master number. And it's a very spiritual, like, it's like the most intuitive, the most it's like that seer oracle energy,
Okay.
And so that's the 11. So there's that, added intuition. Oh my gosh. And it's the new moon too, which
Yes.
makes perfect sense. And then added that layer on, what, I'm going to connect with myself, because whenever I think about 2, I think about relationship, and in shadow work specifically, the relationship to yourself is the most important, right? And so if you're going to, let's say you're going down an IVF journey, your relationship to yourself is so important all the time, but especially then, because of stories that you could go into from old things that have happened before.
Yeah.
Right. That we tie emotions to and create all these other stories. But anyway, I want to say on that 11/2, before I just leave that entirely, is that it is a very like spiritual day. Like there's an added layer of spiritual accountability. There's that new intentions with the new moon. Like it's a beautiful day to have.
I cannot wait. I mean,
right
there, it is an incredible honor. I mean, people are going to get a sense of your magic and what you bring.
Oh, thank you.
It's just,
It's just been an honor to work with you, and
you're helping me so much. There's like a million things I could cover with you. I feel like you really helped me. Oh my gosh. the honor the rise keeps coming up. And that's one of the themes I heard from the weekend. It's like being called higher, and we need our people to call ourselves higher. I think that's one of the reasons I feel so called to support the women that I do, and this unexpected gift that I never thought I'd step into through IVF. I mean, who thought I would ever become a coach through this? But it's like calling women higher on this path.
Yeah. It's so soulfully.
Because
So
our
that they don't
children,
lose themselves, right?
yeah, exactly. That is one of the hardest things I see women really break down and feel so disconnected. This process will tear you apart if you let it. It will make you feel so, I mean, I could go down insecure and just
Yeah, well, totally.
confused.
It's a disconnection from yourself and from the different parts of yourself. Because the way that I see it is like
Mhm.
before you even start to do any kind of inner work, you're
Mhm.
fragmented.
Mhm.
You're fragmented, and you've got this part over here and this part over here, and you can think even of your parts as stories.
Mhm.
I've got this
Ooh.
story over here. I've got this story over here.
Yeah.
I've got this story right here and this story back, and until we bring it all together and integrate all the stories and all the parts and feel whole again, relax the nervous system, understand what we can and can't control. Like that's a big part of lifing.
Mhm.
And honestly, Lisa, I have to call this out because I know your work and I know the work that you're doing is not only helping people on an IVF journey, you're giving them skills that's going to make them a better mother. You're giving them skills that is going to help them like just be better at life.
Thank you so much.
You're well, thank you. I mean,
But
that's
like first, you even just when I hear that, it touches me because yes, this goes beyond just IVF coaching. It's
oh,
really, yeah.
yes.
And that is something I do hear from clients thinking back, and my incredible clients I've gotten to serve around the world. It's like they share with me, it's like the gift. I forget one of them in Singapore. She said it's like the gift that keeps giving. I was like, wow, how it should, it's
Really
helped her,
sad.
right? We're gonna have continued setbacks through life. Past IVF, we don't just overcome one hurdle and it's like, oh, where everything is magically like healed and perfect. No, it's like we continually, whenever we're up leveling as a mom, up leveling in different stages of their childhood. I mean, you have teenagers, right? How old are your kids?
Oh, yes.
Y-
So I have a 17-year-old son,
Yeah.
a 17-year-old stepdaughter, and a 29-year-old daughter.
Yeah. And through challenges, through like the work challenges, through
Oh, yeah.
going through challenges with grief. And my
Mm.
mom passed 5 years ago. You're experiencing some really hard things. And it's just like
Ugh.
having the tools, it's essential if we're going to be
It
able to
is so that
navigate through
you
the
don't
hard.
lose yourself too, because
Yeah.
what I'm going through right now too is I could just lose myself in all the ways, you know, and not take care of myself. And oh yeah, it's heavy. And God, I'm so grateful for my tools.
Right.
I'm so grateful for my tools.
So these are tools for life.
They are, and boy, do I need them right now, as you well know.
Yeah. What's one of the, can you share one simple tool that you use to help you tap back into your center, either for grounding, for just kind of recentering? What's one tool? Share
One
with
tool I love to do, and I do this every day, and I have
me.
it's in my practice, is like every day when I get up, I'll always check in with the numerology, but I always put on my grounding cord every
Oh,
day.
so good. You taught me about this. So
And
good.
I put on my grounding cord and I'm like, because I have this whole visual that I imagine it like really wide and it goes really deep. And that way, and I'll usually do I have a 10 count breath that I've
Mm.
done it for so long now. It just works like instantly. And if I'm ever feeling really anxious or out of my body, because we all disassociate, doesn't mean we have dissociative disorder, but we live from here up, a lot
Yeah.
of times. And so just making sure that I'm grounded, even getting outside
Yeah.
is so important for me.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I feel really weird if I don't get outside. Like
I
can
feel the same
tell.
way. I
I'm
have
not.
to step outside, get fresh air, feel like even before our call, I stood outside barefoot in the grass a little bit, like I just feeling the sunshine and just connecting. It doesn't have to take very long.
No,
When you
no,
talked
it's
about
not some
grounding
like I have
cord.
to have
Yeah.
this, morning ritual that takes me an hour and a half. Like, I don't have time for that.
Right. Let's keep it simple. I'm all about like simplifying these. It doesn't have to take, a long
Yes,
time.
right. I totally
So
agree.
grounding cord, just again, so for people that are like, okay, grounding cord, go into a little bit more detail. What does that mean?
Okay, true. Thank you. So if and we can just do this now, if so that it's more experiential
Yes,
than
I would love
anything. All right. So I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes if that feels good to you, if you're in a safe space, and put your feet firmly on the floor and just start to feel the seat beneath you. Feel your feet on the floor. And I want you to, with your mind's eye, just move your awareness down to the base of your spine. And just as though you have a rope or literally a cord that moves from the base of your spine and starts to move down, down, down through or out of your spine, moving down towards the earth. Moving it with your mind's eye, allowing that cord just to go down into the top layer of the soil, moving down through the rocks and the roots, slowly, mindfully making its way, weaving down, down, down to the earth's core. And as your grounding cord lands at the earth's core, maybe you just take it and tie it around the core, feeling anchored, centered, grounded. Maybe you put your hand over your heart. Take a nice deep breath. Just inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. I am safe. I am here. Just witness what you feel in your body. Giving thanks for the breath, for your grounding cord. One more nice deep breath. You can start to wiggle your hands, your fingers, your toes. Just come back to the screen if you're here with me live, slowly and mindfully. Just notice how you feel after that. I can feel my nervous system's like,
Yeah, I hope all the women listening really just feel like a resettling in their body, like just the simplicity of the sacred pause. Like we just did a very simple, what is it, 2 minutes? I don't even know how long that was, but it was very
it
short.
doesn't even have to be that. Yeah, it just your breath. I always think about the breath and that's like our essence of source. Our breath is spirit because your heart in traditional Chinese medicine, I'll just throw this in there, the heart is a portal. It's a way in, it's a way through, right? So if I think about breathing through my heart sometimes, and that just brings me back into my body and back into my own spirit and connects me with myself. So there's all kinds of visuals you can do, and let your imagination and creativity just have its way with you, if you have access to that. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I'm curious, I have a question as a copywriter too, what you bring soulful copywriting. How do you drop in to that magical space where I'm just curious for you, is it a practice or is it something you could share? I'm curious for myself.
Yeah, thank you. I know. Thank you because I am very much like everything that I've studied is, energetics. And like if I'm not in the headspace, I don't have access to like writing about miracles or anything like that. And right now my life has been a little less than miraculous. At the same time, I can find the beauty in all the things. But so what I do to answer your question is I do drop in. I use my breath a lot for my nervous system, like I said, because it's everything. Like this applies to IVF, this applies to copywriting.
You're right.
So I'll drop into my body, and a lot of times it depends on the brand, right? Because like you are more soulful. I've worked with some, they just have different vibes, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the music. I'll always turn on music because music is such a shifter, and it's got to be like good music that's getting me in the vibe of things, like, and so that way I can really capture somebody's voice and their own essence. And so that's a big part of it for me. Moving my hips. Oh my God. That's where our creativity lies.
Yes. Thank you for speaking to that. That's huge. The
Yes.
sacral chakra, it is their source of creativity. I speak to
Yes.
that a lot with my clients. Yes.
Yeah.
And
And being able to go with the flow of life, and oh yeah. Oh, we could, that could be a whole
I
conversation.
think a chakra talk's a whole nother one. You said something too that really like speaks to me, finding the beauty in all things.
Yeah.
For so many women going through IVF, this is not a pretty ride. It's not a fun, pretty, beautiful path.
Can I share with you what's one of my big brand concepts?
Yes. And just, it's not something many choose as to focus on, I should say, as a beautiful path. However, yes, I want you to share what your thought is with that.
Well, the reason why I've like, when I learned about this concept, it was when I was studying with shamans, right? And I when I learned it about this concept, I was like, that is what I not only needed to know, but I needed to hear it in a different way as well. And it was, looking at things through the lens of the beauty way, and it's seeing in life's good and bad. Because at 15, my diagnosis was not exactly, it was horrible to find out that for the rest of my life, I was going to have to wear an insulin pump. And so, I've always had to try to see what's good without bypassing what's bad, and hold both. And knowing that I had the capacity, and this took me a while, honestly, this is why we do inner work, to hold the duality of life, because life is gonna life. Life is life right now.
Is that a song? Life is gonna life.
I don't know.
Gonna play, the hater's gonna hate, and life is gonna life.
Life is gonna life.
Yeah.
And life is definitely lifing with me right now. And I am so present with it. I have surprised myself, Lisa. Like, just, I see the beauty in this moment, and I see the heartbreak in this moment. And like this bittersweet time with my dad, and just, it's so bittersweet. And I know I can hold it both. And what beautiful memories. And it's being able to like have one foot in, like, I am so grateful. I see the beauty in this. And somehow life is happening for me, and honoring the crappy, the really bad part of life too.
Thank you for speaking
and what it teaches us, because it's a teacher. It's a teacher.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because without the pain, without the grief, without that kind of, we don't have to choose to suffer,
right?
But it's a part of helping in our expansion, and to see the beauty. We almost need to experience the full depth of the lowest lows have taught me more than the highs. And they
about yourself, right? About you.
Yeah. Getting through IVF and seeing my mom kind of her health going downhill, and like navigating oh my gosh. Bringing in life, and then seeing my mom dying, like that is like it's just a full cycle where I don't even have the words. It's like,
it's the life cycle, right?
Duality, it's like walking in duality. And we have that in many areas of our life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's relationships, whether it's work related. I'm crying.
I know, me too. This is real. Like, these are our lives. Like, we're not just talking about this or just talking about because we haven't gone through this. Like we really like we chose careers as nurses, as occupational therapists because we care about people,
Yeah.
and we knew that we had to walk trial by fire to learn these things.
Yeah.
And it's made us who we are now.
You're right. You're right. And I
Now,
hope women
sure,
go
I
ahead.
would have rather not had to deal with the traumas, but
Yeah.
at the same time, sometimes there's just nothing you can say.
You're right.
You just hold space.
I'm just thinking about the women who are walking this path and they want to be a mom more than anything right now. Holidays can be really hard. We're talking about this in real time. This is early December. And I'm very empathetic to these deep desires to become a mom, and striving to show this different way of navigating through IVF. Yes, focus on energetics. Yes, focus on like the inner work. And being very mindful of these desires to call in a child. And I want women to just really keep that hope alive, keep this desire on your heart, like fueling you, keep on living your life, for your little one too, who are calling into this space, the sacred space, whether you carry a child or you don't, this energetic, soulful embrace of like welcoming this little one in. So I'm hoping, through whether it's the new moon intention gathering, the moon manifestation group, or, working one-on-one together, there's just a lot of opportunities to do this work where I'm called to support you, to support those who are on this path. Like, this is my heart's calling.
Well, I know that anybody that's going to join your community is going to be in for so much support, like in this really soulful place that they can like lay down their burdens. I could just see like I have a visual of like your body just like
exhale, like an exhale.
Here's the exhale, and I'm like, oh, I'm with my people. I'm with my people who get it.
Yeah. I just can be more grateful to you for what you've done for helping me. Like, we're all guiding each other forward.
I know, right?
I don't have all the answers, and you don't, and we just, we help each other. And
nobody has all the answers.
No.
Like, I was starting to get a little nervous. Like, what would you do? Because I was like, are you going to ask me what I would tell people right now, about this? And like I said, sometimes there's just, because we need to feel what we're feeling without bypassing it as well.
Oh, yes. Right.
And sometimes there's just, you just hold space for people to, be mad when they need to be mad. Or be upset when they need to be upset.
Yeah.
And then come back. Don't get lost there. Don't stay there. Right. And I know that your community, I'm super excited for the join your community. So
well, thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I mean, you've become a friend, you're a mentor, you're a soul sister, you're many, many things to me.
Same. Mirror is all I can say.
And I'll include your links on how people can connect with you. Do you want to share any? I know you're active on TikTok, you're on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm mostly just, for your listeners, just so they know what's going on in my life. And this is real time, and this is real. I love these soulful talks where we can't just keep it real. My dad, we're calling in hospice this week. And so I imagine when things transition in my life, my business will look a little different. But if there's anything that I've said today and people want to reach out, you can definitely find me on TikTok. I'm over there playing right now, doing the beauty, just kind of doing the beauty influencing kind of things too right now. It's a pivot, but the shadow work, and that's my heart. That
all part of your rise, right?
Yeah, right.
All
yes.
Parts. They're all integrating into
exactly. And it's so all the full story, or first full circle moments happening right now. But yeah, Andrea at AndreaArledge.com. You can find me there. On TikTok, I am Soulful Success Coach, because I work with leaders like Lisa, who are leaders, right, that are here for really big missions. And that is a ministry in and of itself, your own spiritual mission. And I love working with people like you. It's easy when you're like, I said yes to my soul's purpose.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so grateful to have you by my side. Like, you're just such a gift. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for this beautiful conversation, and we'll be talking very soon.
Bye.